Hey, welcome back to Meet the Masons.
Thank you guys for joining us again.
Yes.
We definitely missed you all, for
Yes.
sure. So yeah, we had the baby.
We did?
So yeah,
You don't look like you had a baby?
thank you. So silly. Anyway, so today we are going to talk to you guys about our birth story. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out our labor and delivery vlog. It shows the actual video clips of us taking our steps towards having our baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty interesting. I know some people had some questions. Oh, y'all hear her? Hey, baby.
She's waking up. Hey, daddy's baby. Hey, daddy's baby. Hey, Riverly. Puts her to sleep every time.
Yeah, so she wants to make her presence known. So that is Miss Riverly, you guys. Okay, so basically, our birth story. If you've been following us, and I know a lot of you guys have, so thank you for your support.
Yes.
We are so grateful for it. You guys probably know that we wanted an all-natural birth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we wanted to be vaginal, no medication, no medical intervention, any of that.
None of that.
Yeah, and it didn't happen that way.
It didn't?
No, it didn't.
Hmm.
So she was actually past due, so she was due on September 2nd, 2017. And that is actually the first day we went to triage because we thought we were in labor.
Yeah, that was
So
pretty
tell
funny.
them about that.
So, we arrive and we're thinking, hey, you know what? They gave us all the instructions. If your contractions are 5 minutes or less and they're longer than a minute, then you need to go and get ready to have your baby. So I'm like, hey, that's typical 5 minutes. So let's wait to 3. If we get down to 3, we're a little bit more than the average person and we'll be ready to rock and roll. So we wait past the 5-minute contractions, wait past the 4, down to 3. And I'm like, all right, babe, you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do this. So we're just chilling. Drive all the way to the hospital. Get there. And they're like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, wow, you're really handling these contractions well. Wow, these contractions are pretty intense. And then we're going through, and they're like, but you're not dilating that much. I was like, yeah, you might want to walk around a little bit. So we go walk for an hour or 2 hours, and then literally come back, and they're like, nah, not much change. Go home. I'm like,
Yes.
go home. The rule book says after 5 minutes, 1 minute long, come in. But the rules were broken on this one.
So yes, it is true. We went in 3 minutes apart. Really, they were really frequent. And I just wasn't progressing. Like, I didn't dilate more after they sent us to do the walk. So that's why they sent us home to labor more. So that was kind of disappointing. You guys know that if you've been following us, that we actually wanted her to come on September 1st.
Yeah.
Because we wanted her to get in school by a certain time and all this blah, blah, blah. If you know us, you know that we are planners and we like to organize things. And that didn't work out. So I'm thinking, okay, September 2nd, her due date. Great. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen either.
Not even on the 3rd.
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th.
Yeah. I need 2 fingers up. Give me 2 fingers. On the 12th.
Yeah. So she came 10 days late. So anyway, during that time, I think the following week, I had an appointment with my midwife, and it was on a Wednesday, and they ended up stripping my membranes. Sweeping it. Yeah, they swept it. So it was like the same kind of thing where they check your dilation, except they just kind of rub their finger around your cervix to kind of separate the water and your cervix from each other so you can try to start progressing. And during that time, they told me I was about 2 to 3 centimeters dilated. Yeah, so once they were swept, I'm thinking, okay, by tomorrow, I'm going to have this baby. And yeah, so it didn't happen. The whole time our family was like, what are you guys going to do? Because Hurricane Irma was coming to us, and we live in the Central Florida area. So we were checking the news, and at one point it wasn't going to hit us, and then we found out the eye was coming straight through Orlando. So we were like, oh, great. So we had planned to go to the hospital late Saturday evening and just kind of labor there in the event that I went into labor. That was going to be our plan. But yeah, so for 41 weeks, you have to have a non-stress test. So we had to go Saturday morning to do a test on the baby, make sure she was fine. And we figured, okay, we'll go back home, get prepared, and then if we need to, we'll come back Saturday night or Sunday night, whenever. Yeah. But yeah, so they checked us, and they didn't like her test results after the non-stress test. So that was Yeah, so when she said she was keeping us, I was like, I don't understand. What does that mean? She was like, you're being induced. I'm like, what?
Hold on. Nice to meet you. No.
I'm like, no, I don't want to be induced. And she was like, okay, you can leave under medical advice, but her heart rate, they were saying like the oxygen
Leave going
wasn't,
against medical.
Yeah, leave going against it. But they assumed that my placenta was not working well, and they were like, as the days go by, it only deteriorates, it only gets worse. So that's what they thought it was, and it was them basically monitoring her heart rate after every contraction that I had. And they didn't really like it, and they also looked at the fluids during my ultrasound, and they said they were kind of low. She was like, it's not horrible, but you're already 41 weeks, and at this point, you may as well just stay. So, Jared was like, let's stay, because I was thinking about leaving.
Yeah, I'm like, why go right back home just to come back tomorrow?
Yeah, so put on the hospital gown, and that was the beginning of me realizing, okay, this isn't going as planned, but it is what it is. We're just gonna go with it. So yeah, so we already had our hospital bags packed when we came to do the non-stress test.
Yeah.
But this time around, we kept everything in the car.
Yeah.
So we decided to keep our hospital bags in the car because when we first thought we were in labor, we brought everything up. I mean, the camera equipment, everything, and then we got sent home. So we were like, we're not going to bring it up. And Jared, unless we were really being admitted. So once
and I admit it was kind of a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Being admitted.
I get it.
Got it.
Okay, so anyway, I put on my gown, and then they finally got a room prepared for us, and Jared went to go get to the items. So I have been doing a lot of research about basically just birthing in a hospital, because I was going to do a birthing center. I wanted to do a water birth and everything like that, but we ended up choosing a hospital that was the closest to a birthing center, and I had a midwife the whole time, so they were really for me having a natural birth and working with me and having the amenities in a hospital to do so. So like the wireless monitoring, having a tub so that you can labor in, all those different things. So I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna be induced, but I'm gonna be comfortable. I'm gonna get to be in the water. I'm gonna get to be on the bounce ball. I'm gonna have the wireless things to monitor me. Everything's gonna be great.
And dads get to eat.
And dads get to eat. So that was a bonus.
Was it?
So not really. We'll talk about that. She's over there.
She's fine.
Okay. So, so we got in there, and then first a nurse had to do my IV. And if you guys saw the labor and delivery vlog, horrible job. Horrible job. She was very fidgety. She came in and she was like, yeah, I get off in 45 minutes. So I'm like, oh, great, congratulations. But that also means you're tired. You probably worked a 12-hour shift and you're ready to go. So she was very jittery. She kept popping my arm to find my vein, and she was like, I just can't find it. No one has ever had a problem finding my veins. Like, this was just really easy. I have easy veins to find. So that already made me upset. So that was that. And then in the room, the wireless monitors were not working. So if you guys don't know, in a hospital, typically they like to monitor you, especially if you are in a place where they're looking at the baby's heart rate and they're not sure. They want to keep you monitored. So they keep you connected to see your contractions and the baby's heart rate. So it can be connected to the thing, or at our hospital they have wireless ones. But they weren't working in my room.
No, they didn't say that they would work. They just said that they were wireless.
Anyway, so when I found out that they weren't working, she was like, oh yeah, I don't really know how to get it right, but the next nurse will know how to do well. And I said, well, that is very important for me. That's the reason why I chose this hospital. Make sure you get me those wireless monitoring things, or else we need to go to another room where it actually works. But they ended up keeping me in that room, and then they found some nurses who knew how to make it work, but it wasn't optimal. Every time I moved around, like, sometimes it wasn't picking up my contractions, and I'm like, no, y'all need to see this contraction that I'm having. So that was that. So then, you guys know, we stayed there a couple days.
Days?
Yeah.
6 days.
6 days in total. Yeah, we got there September 9th, and we left on my birthday September 14th. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 6 days. So they wanted to induce me, but when the nurse checked me, they said I was only 1 centimeter dilated, which I was
Hold on. How do you go from 3 to 1?
Exactly. So that
Okay.
had already made me upset, and because I'm just like, how does that happen? And they were like, oh yeah, that nurse is wrong, and blah blah blah. Oh yeah, that midwife was wrong. She didn't measure you right. But I distinctly remember her being able to go inside me easier, it being more open. So I don't know.
Now, we did do some research, at least I did,
Yeah.
about the measurements on dilation, and the research results say at max 50% of the time does any doctor, physician, or medical professional get the exact same measurement on dilation. So half the time they're wrong.
So yeah, people will get different measurements based on the size of their fingers, how long their fingers are, all those different things. So blah blah blah. So they told me I knew nothing about induction, nor did I do any research, because I'm thinking I'm gonna have a medication free delivery, so there's no need to look at it. But I knew about Pitocin, and I knew that Pitocin was really intense, and they make your contractions intense because it's like man-made labor, like it's making your body go into labor. But my body never had an issue with going into labor, hence us going in on my due date.
Right.
The issue was that her head was really high up in my cervix, so her head wasn't coming down, thus I was not dilating as much. And then they just kept thinking that her heart rate was being affected by my placenta not having enough, life in it, basically, to give her back some oxygen. So we went through the Cervidil. Cervidil is like, they say it's like a tampon, but it's really like a thin sheet of paper, but it has that string that comes out of you if you want to take it out, like a tampon.
And it's short for cervix dilation.
Is it?
Cervidil.
Oh, I didn't know that. But anyway, so yeah, it's there to soften your cervix so that you can dilate more. But the only thing is, once they put it in you, they can't check you again for another 12 hours. So yeah, so one nurse put it in there, and she was nice. But in 12 hours later, it didn't do anything, and it hurt so bad. It actually was burning, but I thought that was how it's supposed to be. But turns out it wasn't in there far enough. And then finally I saw one of the midwives that I had seen before, and she was like, yeah, this didn't do anything. And I was like, she asked me how it felt, and she realized that it wasn't far up enough. So she did it again, and it felt a lot more comfortable. It wasn't burning, but we had to wait another 12 hours.
Yeah. Day 2.
Yes. So then that wasn't effective. And she was going to do the Foley bulb, where it's like this little bulb where it just expands and kind of makes you dilate. But because I still hadn't dilated much, she couldn't even go that route. So I needed more medication to try to get me to dilate more.
Meso.
So yes, it's a meso pill. So it's literally, I mean, that thing is tiny, like smaller than a birth control pill. And you put it up you, but it's powerful. So
I thought we were getting miso soup. I was like, hey, but no, never happened.
So they put that up me, and that was at 3:45, and then at 5:45 or so, that's when my water broke. So
was that the first or second miso?
That was the first miso.
Okay.
So that, I think it was the first. Yeah, it was the first one. I don't know. It may have been the first, second one, but whatever it was, it caused me to have my water break. So that was exciting because most people, their water doesn't break. Like, water breaking is not a common thing when you're going into labor. So to experience that was really cool for me, and I was actually really excited. So I'm thinking, okay, it's about to happen. This is great. And it didn't. So the miso did not help me to dilate more either. And what do we do next at that point? Oh, that's when they started doing the oxygen. And, oh, yeah.
Flip on your left side, flip on your right side. Let's see what side does better with the placenta. See if it gives more air to the baby. And we're going to put O2 on. So we just did that from time to time.
Yeah.
And
then they gave me the Pitocin. So they were just like, at this point,
drum roll.
they were still looking at the baby's heart rate. Sometimes it looked really great, and they were like, oh, okay, great. Because I know about hospitals, I know that sometimes they have you push on your back and labor in the bed, but I know that doesn't progress labor. Basically, you need to be upright, you need to be moving, you need to be on a ball bouncing. And so every chance I got to help me induce myself naturally, I tried to walk, I tried to do those things, but then like the monitors wouldn't work, or with the medication I had to lay down for an hour before I got out of the bed, and different things like that. So that was frustrating because I was trying as much as I could to make it work, and we literally did every medication. So then it finally got to Pitocin, which is what I really didn't want because I knew that it was just gonna make things, more intense. Because up until that point, the contractions for me were very manageable. I was able to breathe through them. I could feel the pressure. I could feel the it being uncomfortable, but I could manage them. And I had trained myself, and I had been speaking and praying that I can manage it and all these different things. But I knew with the Pitocin, when you add in a man-made factor and a man-made medicine, like at that point you just don't know. So they apparently with Pitocin they take it to different levels. So they started me at level 1, and this was to get me contracting so that the baby would come down at this point. So they're just like trying to get the baby out. So level 1 was fine. It was more intense. I mean, they got intense after my water broke. I was like, oh, okay, this is a different kind of contraction.
Yeah.
Like, this is more intense. But with the Pitocin, I was like, wow. So they got me up to level 3, and do you remember how it was with those contractions?
Ooh. Ooh.
Yes.
So, it was the boogeyman in the room. Or boogie woman.
Yeah. So they were intense. Like at first I was, breathing through it, then I was blowing through it, then at that point I was humming and singing, and
She didn't say mumbling words.
I couldn't talk. I was just like, what is this? The good thing is that they were short, but they were intense.
Yeah.
And I just can't even relive the pain. Like, it was just something I never experienced before. So at that point, they came in, they're like, well, this is the only way, like, blah, blah, blah. We got to get the baby out. And I was like, turn this off. And they're like, we can't turn it off because it's starting a process of whatever. And I was like, yeah, no. So she kept talking. I was like, okay, I'll try a little bit more. And I said, you got to turn it to a level 2 or something. And so she did that. And then eventually they ended up taking it off. Well, I wanted an epidural. I was like, if I get... She makes a lot of noises in her sleep, y'all. But anyway, at that point, I was like, well, if I'm going to be on Pitocin, I don't want to feel it. So can I get an epidural? I already took all these medicines at this point. It doesn't matter. Give me everything. So then I had an issue with my platelet count that you guys had heard about before. And it really wasn't that bad. But anyway, so if your platelet count is below 100, your platelets they help to clot your blood. So if you were to bleed, then it tries to help you stop bleeding. So if they're too low, then you could be at risk for overbleeding or whatever. So they wanted to test to see if my platelets were over 100, and if so, then I could get the epidural. But if it was under 100, then I couldn't.
And her score was 96.
It's 96. So I just looked at the nurse and I was like, great. I was so mad. So she was like, the other option is Novocaine. And you can get that, but it's gonna feel like you had a couple drinks. And I was like, I don't even care at this point. I need something to help me deal with this pain. So I got the Novocaine, and I literally had to make myself stay alert because I felt myself getting drowsy. I felt myself getting like crazy. But they gave me some, and eventually they just turned it all off because of her heart rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after that, they actually did more oxygen, and I think me walking or turning on different sides. And then once they saw that her heart rate really wasn't doing that great, she's so funny. Once they realized her heart rate wasn't doing so great, they were like, yeah, so C-section is the next option.
Yeah.
So how was that, hearing that news that, okay, probably got to get a C-section?
Yeah. So for me, the whole process is just being comforting for my wife. At the end of the day, it's about us. Like, me, Kiara, River. So whichever way is going to get us through the storm, literally and figuratively, is what we're going to do. So what we did, we were just sitting there, and I was like, babe, any decision that we make, it's not based on just how you feel. It's based on having a peace about it. It's based on knowing that you've tried all the options, or you not even tried all the options, you're aware of the options and the pros and cons. So the con was, okay, we can try to go our way, or we can lean on what we have a peace from God about. Now,
So throughout the whole process of me being in the hospital, I would be in the bathroom crying and doing all these different things because I'm like, more and more, this is not what I wanted. And another thing too, every time I had to use the restroom, Jared had to come unplug me from my IV and unplug me from the monitors just for me to go walk to the bathroom. And I had to pee a lot because they were giving me fluids too, so it was going straight through me. And that was exhausting. Like, that was a whole bunch, but that was a side note. Anyway, so when we got to the point where we chose to do the C-section, honestly, I had so much peace. That was the last thing I wanted, was a C-section. Like, I would take all the medicine, you know, just to be able to push naturally, vaginally, but I didn't want a C-section. But when it came to that time, like, we went to the bathroom, the nurses were like, okay, what do you want to do? We went to the bathroom, and I asked Jared, how do you feel? And I was like, yeah, we got a piece. Let's just go for it. So they ended up offering me the option of doing a spinal instead of an epidural because my numbers were so close. Actually, the other option was them gassing me to go to sleep for the labor. And I was like, great. So I was already in tears about that because I'm like, can I at least see my kid? Like, nobody wants to be put out. Yeah. So, anyway, when they offered the option of the spinal, I was very, very grateful because I at least wanted to be aware of my child coming out.
Yeah. And I'm like, hold on. Now, we talked about a lot of crazy things over the last couple of days. But you're telling me that you want to gas my wife and I can't come in the OR?
Oh, yeah, he can't.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
First off, I ain't going anywhere. Second off, I ain't going anywhere. Anywhere my wife is, anywhere my daughter is, I'm going to be there. So literally, it's like, nah, we're definitely not going with the gas. We already had a piece about the C-section, so that made it a lot easier. But in this whole process, it was like us peeling back our natural will, our natural way of trying to make things happen. Well, we did have a great plan. We did pray about the plan. We did have confidence that the plan was possible. But even with that, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, am I going to do what I think, or am I going to roll my works on the Lord and allow his plan to come out?
And I really think it was like a God thing. Once we made the decision that we're gonna have a C-section, we were at peace. Like you guys saw that moment when I was updating you guys that we're gonna have a C-section. I'm sure you guys could like feel my emotions. Like it is what it is. We're gonna have it, and we had peace. And once we made that decision, I really think it was a God thing that they offered to give the spinal tap because they didn't have to do that. Like, I was preparing to be gassed up, and then it was what it was. So I really was grateful that they offered that. And I think that was like a little way of, God intervening, to be honest. So Jared got on his operating clothes and everything, and they put him in another room so that he can get the camera and stuff ready and put down our things. And then when I went into the room, it was cold beyond measure. Like, the whole time, even while River was being born, I was shaking, like probably shaking this hard the whole time because it was so cold, and probably because all the medicines and things like that. But they said it was very common, so they like put some towels on my arms. I couldn't see anything. There was a blue sheet, drape over me, but Jared got to see River come out, and he saw something interesting when she came out.
Oh yeah. So first, they were like, hey, we're not really sure if you want to pass this other side of the drape. You can stay over there and comfort your wife, and we'll let you know when the baby's coming out. I'm like, no, I want to see everything. No, you're going to see a lot of blood, a lot of internal organs. I'm like, I want to see everything. This is kind of what I came for. I wanted to cut something, like cut a cord or something. Let me do something. Where's my gloves? And everybody started laughing. And then, so I went over there, and they was like, wow, he's not going to faint. I'm like, no, I'm not going to faint. So I'm over there. I'm bouncing back and forth between the other side of the drape, talking to Kiara, and then the other side, which was probably 4 minutes. But as we get over there, I see River's head coming out, and I'm like, they're like, hey, here's the baby. And as they're pulling the baby out, the first thing that you see is 2 purple and white cords around her neck. And it's like, what the heck is that? Obviously, it's the umbilical cord. So he took the first strap around, and then the second one, he unwrapped that one. And it was like, hey, 2 wraps around the neck. They had a different term for it. But long story short, the cord was wrapped around her neck twice. Now, this is the interesting thing, because obviously we're not biologists, but we do remember anatomy and biology and just general dynamics of those. So when you have contractions, you're pushing your baby down towards the birth canal. So every time that birth canal was getting tighter to push River closer, the cords were wrapped around the neck, so she would stop breathing and her blood flow, oxygen levels would go down because she's being suffocated from the inside. So every push, or every contraction rather, she would have a palpitation or a differential on her heart monitor. So every time she's going closer to the canal, she's getting weaker. So that's what they were seeing on the screen, which we didn't know. Now, if we would have went with our plan and tried to keep pushing naturally, they could have made that happen. If we would have went all the way up to level 10, I think it was, for Pitocin, she could have came through, and we would have pushed her through the canal. Her being pushed all the way through, she would have been suffocated, and we would have not had River Lee. So it's like, after all this time, you all right? Okay. After all this time, we can literally build our life on what we are confessing, what we are believing, and saying, hey, I can make it my way. Or we can confess and believe and roll our works on the Lord, and at the end, our thoughts will become agreeable to His will, and then we'll be established and succeed. And that's literally what happened here, because we thought we had the end of the vision. We thought we had seen the end of the tunnel. But here, it's like, you know what? Even with our plans, even though we were believing in the Lord from the beginning, this was really like believing in the Lord, but still allowing Him to taper and to test our belief. Because it's just like I'm trusting you either way, but even in trusting Him, it's like, trust me while you're trusting me for something totally different than you trusted me for before. And I'm like, wow, how can you double trust God? Like, confidence on confidence, faith against faith. And it's like we're literally mounting those up, and it's like, God, no matter what, we're trusting in you. But in this, it was like the exact opposite of everything we imagined.
Yeah.
But we're so glad that we didn't get the result of what we wanted.
So, yeah, we had no idea that it was because her cord was wrapped around her neck. And so that was like, thank you, Lord. Like, it gave us even more peace that I'm glad it didn't go my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everything in my life, if you really know my heart, I'm very organized and I want what I want and all these different things. But at the end of the day, I really want God's will, and I know that His will for our life is always better. But sometimes His will is not what we want, you know?
She didn't want to marry me.
That's a whole nother story. Make sure you watch our story, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I don't know, like, I just left really grateful that it didn't go my way. And the funny thing is, I never told Jared about this, but throughout my pregnancy, I always had thoughts of death, of either myself or River dying during the delivery. And I never spoke it because that was just like too much of a intense feeling and an intense thought that I just never spoke against it. So I always said, with long life will you satisfy us and show us your salvation. That's a scripture in the word. So every time I had that thought, I would declare that. But little did I know that she could have died, you know. And sometimes I feel like God gives us these things in advance and we don't really know how to process it or what to do with it, but it's always important to stand on the word. But had I just kept that to myself and been scared the whole time, we could have given birth to her, and then she could have been stillborn, you know. All those different things could have happened, like Jared was saying. But I'm grateful that it happened God's way, you know. And I mean, now, granted, it would have been nice that we knew about her umbilical cord beforehand, because, you know, we could have skipped out on 6 days in the hospital. But I trust that God is going to take care of all those medical fees and all those different things. But, so that was the birth of Riverly, and Jared got to see her. He still cut the umbilical cord. We got to do skin to skin. What?
No, I didn't.
Well,
I cut the little tip of what they left for me. I'm like, come on, guys, can we start this over? And then Kiara was on the table. She was like, hey, while y'all are in there, can you do a tummy tuck? And I'm like, not unless you're Beyonce. But.
Yeah, so we were joking around. I was on the table. I'm like, yeah, I'm already open. You may as well make me look cute afterwards. So it was funny. But the funny thing is that my incision looks really well.
Yeah. And the reason why we said Beyonce, because they got that long money.
Anyway, so we don't know if Beyonce got a tummy tuck. That's my
it does. Even if she did or didn't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Her children are healthy. Her family's healthy. That's what's most important. But they got that long money.
And she looks great.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, so my first memory of River.
Yay, River.
Yay, River. You guys would know what that is in reference to. But anyway, so my first memory of her is hearing her voice. So once I heard her cry, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what she sounds like. I heard her voice before I actually saw her. So I will never forget that. But I mean, it was bittersweet because it's like, I wanted to see her being born, all those different things. But I'm so glad that Jared got to see all of it, like her literally coming out of me and that whole process. So that was really cool. And then afterwards, we went to the...
Before that, she was super alert when she came out. So they put her under the heat lamp and all that stuff once we cut the cord. But it was pretty awesome because the whole pregnancy, every single day, I would say, well, almost every day, hey, daddy's baby, hey, daddy's baby, hey, Riverly. Anytime she would kick or do something, that way I had like an external communication. So when she came out, she was all alert and I started saying that. And she was like, and came looking over to me, and the doctor was like, wow, she's looking right at you, she's following your voice. I'm like, yeah, you know, I've been practicing this thing. So it still works, as you can see. I just want to put a little plug in that thing. Yeah.
Yes. So that's cool. Anyway,
you see that?
Yes, I saw.
Yeah.
So that is the birth of River Lee. If you guys have any questions about any other things that happened, I don't know if we really gave all the details of it. Oh, the food was horrible. We had hurricane food during that time. Usually they have really good food. That's how you gonna end it? Just like bam. I'm just trying to remember what else. Food was horrible because it was hurricane food, and literally the entire hospital had to eat the same thing. Time. No. Just during the hurricane time. And then the last 2 days, we got good food. Like we had grits and what else? The turkey bacon was amazing. Man. Anyway.
that steak quesadilla, I might go back for one tomorrow. What?
So funny. So nurses make a big difference when it comes to being in a hospital because that's who you see the most. So if you have, for my first time moms, I had the assumption that my midwife, I would see her like 24/7, but that's not the case. It's actually nurses who are coming in to check your temperature and all these different things. So because we were there for so long, we saw so many nurses. Yeah. And we got to connect with different ones, and it was just nice to have a nice nurse. Like when you have a nice nurse, it makes things easier. When they understand what you want, when they're nice, when they're pleasant, it's great. And because of the hurricane, my midwife was there pretty much the entire time.
She was amazing.
The entire time. So we actually got to see her anytime we wanted to as a nurse. So that was pretty cool. And she worked with us to the end. She was like, I know you don't want this. You don't want to go to this part. So I'm going to work with you with every sort of option that we can go through till we got there. So I'm so grateful for my midwife being there to push me there. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, did y'all know? Could y'all have found out about this cord? Or I'm thinking maybe it happened after the fact because we already knew she was head down. But I think her head ended up turning up, sunny side up. So her head should have been facing my back, but it was facing the front. And some of those things can happen probably while I was in the hospital. So it's like, it really doesn't matter. I'm glad that she is safe. She's beautiful. She's gaining weight. Yeah. I'm eating good. So, yeah, that is that. Yeah. So I think for me, other than the whole process of it all, it was a very emotional journey for me, just letting go with every decision, letting go of what I wanted. And I cried so much during that time. And to be honest, even after the delivery, crying so much and Jared processing every emotion, every thought that I had, that was very helpful. I'll probably do a postpartum video of how it is after pregnancy because it's a whole new world. Yeah, it's a whole new world. But yeah, so that was our birth story. This is already long. We could keep talking to you guys forever. We definitely miss you guys making videos. Yeah. You have to plan everything now. So this is her nap time.
We didn't plan before?
Well, yeah, we did, but we have to be really strategic now.
No, it's not being strategic. You got to learn how to wing it sometimes. That's what you're not used to. See, I've been trying to tell her, like, you can have a plan. Now I'm very detail-oriented. Are you yawning on me? Dang.
Sorry.
I'm just joking. Okay. But you got to learn how to wing it. So some stuff we can be so structured on, but it's like, the baby just pooped on the outfit that you just planned. Where's the second outfit? Oh, I didn't pack 2 outfits. We got to pack like 4.
Although that did not happen. But yes,
it didn't happen?
No, she always has multiple outfits. In her
No, I'm
bag.
just. Oh no, I'm just saying that as an example. I didn't say that like we left because we've been here the whole time. But
yeah,
that's still the idea.
So we will do a postpartum video because that is gonna be funny in a whole new world of being first time parents, and it has been definitely fun.
We're kind of talking crap about the baby.
Talking about her crap. Poop. Anyway, so another thing too is if you're interested in seeing updates on her, make sure you follow us on Facebook or Instagram. So Facebook, just type in Meet the Masons and you'll see us. On Instagram, I am Meet Mrs. Mason. He is Meet Mr. Mason, but I mostly put the updates on my Instagram.
And I mostly make the updates and she just has to post them first.
That is so not true.
So I don't be taking these good pictures?
Not the ones that I posted.
Oh, snap.
Not the ones that I posted.
What, you posted 2 pictures that was good?
Yeah, just 2 pictures. I'm not saying y'all gonna see a whole bunch of updates, but if you do want to see some updates, just go on our Facebook. What I post on my Instagram, you'll see it on Facebook too. Make sure you like our page on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Instagram.
Yes. I need to get my followers up because Kiara's leading the game.
Follow
between
my husband,
us.
y'all.
Yeah.
Follow him. But yeah, so make sure you do that if you want some more updates. And also, what do you guys want to hear from us now? You guys want to keep hearing about our journey as first-time parents? Do you want to see us vlog more, like what our day-to-day looks like? Just let us know what you guys want to see from us. Because it's a new life now.
Yes.
So our content definitely changed since we started. It's been over a year now since we've been on YouTube, and yeah, our content has definitely changed since then.
It's more family oriented now.
Yeah.
First it was like, hey, we out doing this.
We're married, living our life.
We flew over here. We driving over there. And I was like, hey, we at the house. Hey, we at the crib.
Too. Yeah. Different seasons.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to see more vlogs from us, let us know. But yeah, we're excited to get back. I literally miss YouTube, and we took some time for us, and I'm sure you guys can understand, but just trying to adjust to having a baby here, resting, recovering from a C-section. We have visitors, all those different things. So that's why. And we're grateful for the visitors that have come.
How could we make it without them?
So that was the reason why we didn't have, more consistent videos. So maybe it may be a weekly vlog, and it may not come on Tuesday. We just don't know.
On Tuesdays.
Babe, stop. We will try to do a weekly vlog, but work with us. We are, like I said, we're still adjusting. We are, at this point, when you see this video, we are going to be 3 weeks postpartum. So we're still adjusting, and we're still figuring things out. So
now,
that is that.
I need help. For real. If anybody's following us on Instagram, Facebook, wherever case may be, send a message. DM, IM, anything, whatever case may be. Comment.
About what?
About telling Kiara to sit down. As soon as she had the baby, she's trying to walk around, do all this extra cleaning, bending over, trying to clean out the tub, and trying to run upstairs to do stuff and all this extra stuff. Tell her to sit down. Just say sit down. Just sit down.
So that's definitely a video for our postpartum update. Maybe that could be like our next video.
So thank you so very much for watching our newest update. It has been a pleasure. It's been a long time, it feels like, but we enjoy you all, and thank you for enjoying us. And staying on our page, following us, and commenting.
And all the comments. We read them. We're not always able to respond to them, but we definitely read them. And I know you guys gave us a lot of congratulations and a lot of love in our labor and delivery vlog. So we just want to personally say thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And there will be many, many more videos. Not necessarily many, many more pregnancies, but more videos.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother video. But stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Love you.
Love you. Hasta luego. Bye.